One day, giving my number out on 660 to talk to girls, I made a discovery which was unpleasant but interesting.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Who's this?
Karen.
Give me a call. 599
599
9777.
9777.
Right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
The payphones in my hometown were like Neil's home phone rather than mine. They could call the good 311 and 660, and they also had a nice feature. You could leave them off the hook when you were anticipating an incoming call, and the call would plop right in. The girl who's about to call, however, I don't think is the same one I just gave my number to on 660.
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
This is Bob. Who's this?
You're Bob?
That's right.
Whatever happened to Steven?
When was there a Steven here?
I don't know, but I was just talking to him.
Not at this number.
Yes, at this number.
I don't think so.
You can tell him to go himself if you know him.
Actually, she was mistaken. I'd been the only one using the phone, and I'd only been going by the name Bob, so I'm not sure who she was looking for, but heck, she was gone, so I put in another dime to call back to 660. But there was no dial tone. And at that point I realized she had not really hung up, only pretended to. And my dime was in limbo. The reason was that it was impossible for the phone to return my dime as long as there was an incoming call on the line. What it took was for me to get a new dial tone and make a new call, but I could only do that after she had hung up and she was holding my line up. I tried hanging up on her, and amazingly, she was able to stay on my line for up to 3 minutes at a time. Even when I did manage to disconnect her by hanging up for a very long time, she would simply call back in before I'd had a chance to get a dial tone, so she'd hold me up again. I ended up having to walk away, leaving my dime in the phone, at best to be used by the next person, at worst to simply be collected along with the next customer's dime when he completed his call after putting his dime in. Not a happy experience, but it gave me an idea. This could be a very good prank. And being a teenager, a good prank seemed like a good thing. It took some research to figure out how to do this. The first thing we had to find out was how was it that she was able to hold me up for so long. After all, I had tried staying on the line after calling someone from my house, and I'd always get cut off after 20 seconds. But wouldn't you know it, Neil's phone was once again better than mine in a particular way. From Neil's house, I could make a local call and hold someone up after they'd hung up on me for 2.5 to 5 minutes. Damn, I needed a phone like his. But in the meantime, we were just going to have to do this prank from his house instead of mine. Now, calling into 311 and 660, we would often hear numbers being shouted out, and some of them were obviously payphones. The way we knew that was that in prefixes that had payphones, the last 4 digits tended to be in the 9000 group.
The number from which you are dialing is Boswick 99650. You say you've lost your dime. May I safely assume that this is a pay station?
Well, with 9650, the last 4 digits, it is a pay station probably, assuming Boswick 9 has coin phones at all. And so those were the numbers we were listening for. We'd go on to 311 or 660, listen for such a number, and then if it was a guy, we'd call him, pretending to be a girl. We did this prank several times from 1970 through 74. We only recorded doing it the last time, so what follows is from 1974, but it gives an idea of basically how the prank went. In this particular case, we had to call the guy back a few times.
Hello?
This is Eileen again. My father keeps hanging up the phone.
Who, your father?
Yeah. Just what? I am not on that party line. I am not.
We've now pretended to hang up, And now our victim has hung up. But he'll be off hook again in a second, trying to make a new call. By the way, we never did this to ordinary people trying to use payphones, just kids who were shouting their numbers out on 311 or 660. He's off hook, and... Gotcha. That was the sound of the dime going in. And now, this guy's going to get a very strange experience talking to a very strange organization called the Dime Holders of America.
Hello there. I represent the Dime Holders of America. We are holding your dime, and you're not going to get it back.
Hello? Hello?
This guy was a lot smarter than we gave him credit for at the time because he did not try the coin release lever. And most of the kids we did this to at this point would be desperately jingling the thing up and down trying to get the dime to return, which of course doesn't work because the coin release lever is designed to get stuck coins out of the slot. It won't work in this condition.
Hello?
The touch tones are a giveaway that this isn't a 1970 recording. Actually, in September 1970, most Long Island payphones were single-slot, rotary dial.
Yeah. I wish we could give him a line time.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I'm David Glass, your representative of the Dime Holders of America. Now, we have your 10 cents and you're not going to get it back.
When?
When? Never.
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 Why?
Why? That's our business. This is how we make our money.
I need that dime.
You need that dime?
Yeah.
How do you think businesses are formed? By dimes. Look at the phone company. They're made of dimes. So are we.
What are you going to do with it back?
We're never going to give it back.
I don't get my dime. You get yours.
I'll get mine. I've gotten mine last night. That's all I need. Once a week for me, you know. Once we get over 40, we don't need much of it. Hello, Shum. This is Mr. Alexander Milligan, the head representative for Rockville Center, Oceanside, Limerick District.
Yeah?
Now, I hear you have a complaint that you've had your dime taken. Is this true?
Yeah.
You're not going to get your 10 cents back because you gave it to us. And don't be an Indian giver. Since you put it in the slot, that's our slot.
This is not.
It is too. Don't argue with me, son. I'm old enough to be your grandfather.
I want it to be yours.
You're old enough to be my grandfather. I doubt it, son. You sound like a young whippersnapper.
Young whippersnapper.
A young whippersnapper. He whips his snap all the time. My grandfather's been dead for years. We stole his dime from the grave.
He probably wears combat boots.
My father wears combat boots.
Yeah.
We must have gotten this guy before. Someone else has said that to me before. I know he did. We might. Have we ever gotten you before, son?
No, son.
Do you know my mother wears combat boots also, and she's the best career officer the Army has ever seen? A real rough mother.
Now, you're...
Hold on, son. I'm a switchman, and I'm gonna come over there and...
Blow your ears out. Blow your ears out.
You can't blow my ears out. I have nothing in between them.
You sick?
I'm perfectly fine. Very good, in fact.
I work for the phone company.
You work for the phone company?
Yeah.
So do I. Can't you tell?
Yeah, can't you tell I work for it?
Yes, I can tell. You have the correct mentality. Now listen, son, what are you trying to do?
Huh?
What are you trying to do? Blow my ears out?
Yeah.
We have special phones, son, and we can duplicate anything you can give us.
Yeah?
Yes. And we can do a lot more things than you can. We happen to have one of the famous touchstone musicians here, Mr. E.M. Root. Mr. Root, will you play him one of your fantastic...
You feel all right? Hello?
Oh my. Well, I guess all teenagers are a little bit obnoxious, and we were no exception. In any event, that's pretty much the way it would go. Though in all honesty, I still think this is funny. I also think that it's way too mean to do. I'm not exactly proud of it, but hey, it's done and it's on tape, so here it is.
Mr. Bell, this is Miss Tomlin from the telephone company.
Yeah?
It is my duty to discuss with you some of the abuses of your instrument.
Go on.
Today, I was robbed of my dime in a payphone. I want it back.
We never got the dimes. I mean, theoretically, if we'd been able to run out to the phone at just the right time when the person had given up, we might have been able to actually retrieve their dime, but we never did. It was just a prank. And what happened was they either got their dime back or the next person ended up just collecting it when they made their call, just as the girl who held my dime up never actually got it. So anyway, Neil and I were off to a bad start, but hey, what did we know at that age? We did know, however, that there was something about the kind of phone line that Neil had that was very desirable. It got the party lines and it could hold local calls up for 3 or more minutes. So the fact that all phones were not created equal was really driven home. Well, I was to learn a lot more about different types of phone lines in my September 1970 trip to Atlanta to visit my family. This was the first trip to Atlanta after I became aware that there was something to check out on the phones, and it ended up being pretty eye-opening, though it actually left me with more mysteries rather than fewer, and deepened my interest in this whole thing. That's in the next segment. Edited recordings from 1974 have been used here to depict 1970 events. The busy signal impulse rate has been fudged in places to avoid rhythmic disharmony with background music. Oxford, New Jersey recordings are accurate, though the dial tone was recorded later. The camp dial tone is actually Bogart Statham, Georgia, as a stand-in for the original Pennsylvania office, but they were virtually identical dial tones.